Hi there, Santee Blake here, life coach for today. And this is the channel Soul Growth Wellness, where we're focused on wellness and growing in unbelievable ways in terms of self mastery. So what today we're going to talk about is something that I kind of mentioned in a previous video about bad relationships. And one of the remedies that I talked about was an enthusiastic plan to change together in your romantic relationship. Of course, one of the things that I get asked a lot with that sort of thing is, where do you get started? How do you get started? And where I'm going to go with is the coaching modalities. Coaching, by the way, is just kind of like a specific way to create a strategic plan of action to move forward and transform something in your life that you'd like to change. And it's a way to, when you engage a coach, you get some accountability in the process. But in terms of the enthusiastic plan to change, I'm going to show you what we do in coaching in a regular few sessions with some clients. And one of the first things we do is we outline what the problems are fully. That means that if you're having an issue with, like let's say communication, you mentioned whether it's not being listened to, whether it's being shut down, whether it's being shutting someone out, zoning out, or not being able to have a decent conversation without it turning into a shouting match or anything like that. You want to outline fully what the problems are. Every nook and cranny, everything that could possibly go wrong or has gone wrong, you want to outline it fully so you know exactly what you're dealing with. One of the things I prefer doing is kind of like a bullet point because you don't want to like try to do paragraphs because that could literally turn into like letters and pages of grievances between each other, and that doesn't really help the relationship process or start the recovery. But you can do bullet points about specific things that have happened. So, as I said, you want to outline fully. The second thing you want to do is explore why you each believe these are problems. Again, if it's in reference to communication or how you all treat each other, issues with appreciation or things like that, you all want to get on the same page about why do you think this is a problem. If you're someone who's saying, I have a problem with, the lack of appreciation you show me, explain why it's a problem, how it makes you feel, what it does to your state of mind, your psychology, your emotions, how it may impact how you treat your partner instead. If they're not showing you a whole lot of appreciation, maybe you're either not showing them appreciation, or maybe you're not showing them affection, or maybe you're not really engaged in the everyday activities of living together or being together in a relationship. So you want to explore why you all each believe that those are problems in the relationship, so that you can get on the same page, or at the very least, so you all can understand each other's perspectives and at least attempt and exercise in empathy. The next thing you want to do, the third thing, is you want to identify why it's been problematic to fix these issues. And this is a particularly interesting exercise because it's also about delving and doing some self reflection. Like when something is a problem to fix in a relationship, it oftentimes has to do with who you are as a person and how they are as a person. There's necessarily going to be like a conflict of interest between the two of you all. And what's going on internally with someone, like again, in an example of, communication, is maybe you grew up in a certain way where your family didn't talk about uncomfortable things with each other. So you don't really know how to even go about the process of being vulnerable, setting up boundaries, speaking your piece, or saying anything that you feel is either inflammatory or contradictory or problematic for the relationship. So that might be something that is identified as a way that, or a way I should say, that is a problem in regards to fixing what's going on in the relationship. That's something that's going on with you internally, something that you've experienced in your life that has impacted how you interact with your partner's day in the here and now, and ultimately how that manifests inside your relationship with each other, ultimately how you all treat each other. So you want to identify, what why it's been an issue to fix these problems in the past based on what's happening for you inside. And then in addition to that, what you also want to do is the next one, I think it's the fourth one I mentioned, this is the fourth one now, is you want to come up with a plan for what needs to change. You want to be able to take specific actions, specific goals. So if this is specific action, again, regarding communication, you all, for instance, say, well, we're going to set aside 40 minutes or 45 minutes on Thursday evening at 6:30 or 8 o'clock or something like that. And we're going to turn off the phone, shut everything off. We're going to make sure if we have kids, they're, squared away or playing on their, tablet or anything like that. And we're going to have a nice, normal conversation where we're not each zoning out on each other. We don't have something that's constantly interrupting us. So that's a specific action you can take to remedy a situation in terms of your communication. And you also want to do a timetable, because if you just say like, oh, well, let's get started on that, well, when? When do you get started on that? Um, Generally, for most changes, you want to get started on them immediately. But there could be issues maybe with scheduling work, maybe you're not in quite the right headspace for it, and you all want to discuss that together and find out, like, let's say, well, let's start working on this in a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But you shouldn't put it off any longer than that. I would say 3 weeks is the max, maybe 4, and that's really, really pushing it. But you want to get started as quickly as possible. So those are some of the things that you can do from a coaching paradigm to go ahead and actually transform the quality of your relationship. And I found that this has helped in a lot of different ways, like from stuff as mundane as, how to handle household chores, dealing with better parenting skills and being able to communicate with your kids, where you all both again feel like you're on the same page so that you're not contradicting each other with, who's the disciplinarian, who's the one that's letting them get away with things or stuff like that. And also dealing with anger, insecurity, jealousy, obviously issues dealing with intimacy, arguments, and even again, something again as mundane as picking where you have your meals or what you all decide to have for dinner in the house that evening. Like, I mean, oftentimes, sometimes it's just some really basic everyday stuff that happens in couples. With being able to actually figure out how to make a plan going forward. And one of the things I also want to mention is that you want to get creative. I have come across a lot of examples, just in my own research, where couples, do some really amazing things. Like, they'll say like, oh, well, if it's a Thursday at 3 o'clock, it's your time to, change the baby, or, just something like really random where it's like you all switch off, roles and competencies and responsibilities in a way. And you kind of even make a game out of it. So you make it kind of fun. Like, okay, it's your turn, So you get creative and you also try to find a way to have fun with it while you're trying to remedy or fix a problem that's going on in your relationship. And in addition to that, one of the last things I want to say is do not be afraid to enlist help when you need it, because this is actually a really complicated process. I've listed 4 things for you to do, which is, outline the problem fully, explore why you all believe that there are problems, identify why it's been a problem to fix, and then coming up with the strategies and specific actions to take. That's a 4-step process, and it takes a while to get there. And oftentimes people have an issue with being able to self-reflect accurately and be able to have a conversation with someone else and actually feel heard and understood. Oftentimes with helping professionals, either coaches or mental health professionals like therapists, what they can help you do is they can help you kind of translate for each other. Like maybe the therapist hears something or the coach hears something that you're not hearing, and likewise your partner can maybe understand something better depending on how this helping professional says it to them. So don't be afraid to enlist help if you need it. As a matter of fact, I highly recommend it. I know some people have issues with like, don't get people involved in your relationship, And I would say that for like family and friends, absolutely, because, taking advice from, other individuals means that they have their own things that they're adding to the table. In coaching, we want you to come up with the solution yourself. We don't want to give you, like, do X, Y, and Z. Specifically because the solutions should be something that resonate with who you are as a person, something that works with your personality. No 2 people are going to react the same way to the same type of advice. And because they're going to take it differently, in coaching, you want to make sure that people actually do something that's ultimately going to be good for them and something that's sustainable and that they can actually accomplish. So definitely, like I said, don't be afraid to get help if you need it. And also want to mention that you can also talk to your pastor or another individual in the church if you happen to be of a religious variety, and that can also help you as well. So again, if you like this video, go ahead and click the subscribe button and make sure that you get the updates on, when I post something new. And I will see you all again in the next video. Take care. Much love. Bye.